I am. Okay, I am. Never mind.
I just turned yours off.
You're live.
Hi, everyone. Let's make sure we're all
We can go.
in here.
Hey, everybody. We're going to start in just a few minutes. 3 minutes, or maybe when we watch today.
Just ignore for now. No. You don't know who the guest is yet.
I thought it was all advertised.
It is. Yeah. Your face is everywhere, so it's fine.
We put a lot of money behind this one. Don't disappoint us.
Okay. Why do I look so little compared to you guys? Not if you got
You gotta,
bigger
you gotta
stools.
see
Sit
what
up.
Right?
sit on some encyclopedias or something.
Some boxing gloves.
Look a little taller.
So, are you closer? You're trying to get closer than that.
No, we're just American women. We're just
big
bigger
German
bones.
women. Yeah.
That's very good. I suppose.
You want us to look smaller?
Yeah, I can crunch.
I think it'd be good.
It's good?
I sort of feel like a rose between two thorns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, I just got a couple minutes, but we hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah, and let us know where you're coming from in the chat. We always love to hear from you guys. Thank you for joining.
Yes, we are in California, so we are just starting our day and still have our coffee. It's not quite, it's still morning. It's not early, but it's still morning.
Still morning time. Still counts.
Right, but today we are going to be talking a little bit more casually, I think, than usual, with not as much as a hard topic.
Yeah, we're not really teaching you many things. We're asking things this time. So
Well, you don't know what I'm going to say.
that's true. He
Yes.
could be really teaching you a lot
We're
of
probably not learning much today
Yeah.
either. So
Very good. I love the way it makes me look as though I'm half bald as well. Let's not do TV
it's a
again,
good
shall we?
angle.
We can just.
It's a good angle.
Oh,
We'll do it. Hold on. And just there. Now we look like we're friends on
Why
them.
do I look so small? I don't understand what's going on here.
Maybe it's the pattern. Maybe the pattern. It's like black, it's slimming. Maybe plaid is
Yeah,
littling.
Maybe the camera's
Maybe,
concave
yes.
or like something.
It's got like that fisheye warp where you're just like the weird one in the middle and everybody else is
Yeah.
stretched on the outside.
Yeah. All right. You guys should sell merch. Eagle hats. Steve?
You guys sell merch. Eagle hat, oh yes.
I
Well,
think
we had bottles.
What about us? Yeah, we focus a little. Well, we got clip hats.
We do.
That's right.
We do sell
Symbolic
hats.
as
Yeah.
if you just want to cover your whole face.
This is true. Okay,
We don't talk about the clothing much, but we do. We do.
Maybe
the
we're
whole-
due for
the headwear.
clothing.
The headwear. You should just wear the balaclava the whole time.
Maybe next month we do a fashion show
We'll do that.
of all clothing.
Well,
Next
look-
time you come, you can wear a balaclava.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Well, the balaclava has featured in a burglary in southern New Zealand
Fun fact.
once, yes,
Fun
and they tracked it back to a
fact.
worker.
No way.
Yeah.
For you guys that don't know, the balaclava is just the full cover that has like the little hole cut in it.
Sort of looked like Darth
So-
Vader, but it's white, so it wasn't
Yeah.
a very good burglary option. But
Kind of like a non-woven ski mask from Home Alone option,
Right.
kind of.
It's for the quick robbery.
Yeah, right. The waterproof.
All right. I think we're at 10. So this is our starting time. So hello, everyone. And welcome back to the Glove Lab. We do this every month as a casual way to just chat and talk everything disposable gloves. We are, I guess, yeah, we're at time. So we're good. So drop your questions in the chat. Anytime you have a question, we have a very special guest today. So you might be able to get some more in-depth questions answered.
And for those who have joined us before, you might know, but Ashley is here and I'm Sarah. We're the ones that you have to put up with usually on the show.
Most
And then, so we work for Eagle Protect, and it was a company that was started in New Zealand. And so what makes us a little different, as we've said before, is that we third-party test some of our gloves. So when they come over, we check the ingredients haven't changed, we check for durability, we check for strength, we check for cleanliness. And it's just something that gives a level of trust to our gloves that we're hoping they'll kind of spread throughout the glove industry and just elevate the trust people have in the product and also the expectations of performance. I think it's one of those where we're just trying to do gloves a little bit better. So that's what the angle we are coming from.
Mm-hmm. And today's live stream, if you can't tell, is a little bit different than what we usually do, and we're very excited about. Instead of focusing on just one product or a specific thing we want to teach you about, we're sitting down with someone who is, he spent more than 20 years in the industry, very instrumental in the success of Eagle Protect. So joining us today is Steve, our CEO and co-founder.
Woo!
I love the way you have to say nice things about me just because
He's here.
You never say anything like this.
He's here, so we have to say nice things. He's visited many manufacturers, and he's worked with a lot of different companies, a lot of different industries, and he's developed a lot of programs and products. And so in this world, he has a lot of history, a lot of experience, a lot of things. So we're just going to pick his brain today, and we're excited to hear some of those stories, hear about your very extensive, very long career.
We'll
get to hear some of that.
Very good. I was going to bring a before and after photo
of Eagle Protect.
What the glove industry does for you.
Yeah,
your long black hair before.
That's right. I was much bigger too.
Well, before we jump in, let's start with our question of the month. We do this every time. So if you could ask someone with more than 20 years of glove experience, what would you ask them? So drop your questions in the chat because he's here and he can ask or he can answer any of your questions.
I would like to start with, why do you always wear blue? Is it your comfort color?
Am I wearing blue? This is red, white, and blue. I wore this
very
especially.
patriotic.
I did notice you totally dug through your closet to find another color.
I don't know. Blue, safe, I didn't know there was. I'm going to have to bring my other game, my clothing experience.
He doesn't know the questions we're going to ask, so
No,
we'll have to throw in.
Yeah. Okay. So when those questions come in, we will answer them either when they come in or at the end. So don't worry, we'll get to them. All right, Steve, let's start at the beginning. So how did you end up in the disposable glove industry over 20 years ago?
right. Well, my normal answer is, doesn't everybody want to grow up to be the glove guy?
Right.
Firemen say last century, but the real answer is I went through several midlife crises, which I won't go into detail unless you want me to. We can change the whole topic.
That might be, we have to change the name of the glove lab
Quick
for
therapy
those
session.
stories.
But and we, went to college and became an agronomist, which is someone who looks at plants and how they grow.
Oh.
Had a midlife crisis, set up a marketing consultancy, and it does get to a point, one of my clients was a company that dealt in the meat industry.
Okay.
And they sent us over to Thailand and China to look for glove factories that they could set up for their disposable business, which they never did in the end. But one of the factories was I won't say where it was, but one of the factories, which is a pretty well-known factory. In fact, it's just closed 2 years ago after the pandemic.
Oh.
And we went in there and it stunk of chlorine and acid. The workers weren't wearing any protective equipment. I went into the packing room, which was an open shed and with no walls and tables full of gloves. And there were ladies around, about 10 ladies around the table packing them into boxes. They'd count 25 gloves, 4 lots, 25 into a box. And one guy's job was to walk around shooing off the cockroaches off the pile of gloves.
No way.
And see,
And you're like, I need to be in this business.
And you're like, this is where I belong.
And they were being packed into American medical glove boxes, sent to America. And we were only this is in 2000, I guess, maybe something like that. And so I thought, well, that's interesting. There's obviously a bit of an opportunity to improve things here. And long story short, I got hold of a guy that I'd met through other means, who is now one of our shareholders and suppliers in Thailand. I went to Germany to a thing called Medica. We met a whole lot of suppliers. We met all these people. And Linda and I decided to, rather than have a nice, happy life, we decided to set up a glove company and put all our money into that. She'd recently sold her physiotherapy practice, so we just set up Eagle Protect in 2006 in New Zealand. And we pretty quickly, over a period of a year or two, were supplying around 80% of the meat industry in New Zealand, because the people who were doing it were pretty bad at it. So we were the first people to actually get in and see gloves as a Zone 1 food safety item, what they are, and then focus on them as opposed to just seeing them as a product that you just sell with everything else.
Nice.
Wow.
All right.
So a lot of that.
Okay. So at the time you were going into an unknown, and you took a risk because you saw an opportunity.
Mm.
So when you first got into the industry back then, did you think down the road 20 years later, which is much, much longer and much, much farther away from then, did you think you'd still be in it? Like, kind of, what was your end game? Did you want to be doing this for the next 20 years or?
I don't know if you'd asked me then. So I guess it was a whole different period of life. One of the options that Linda and I had was to sell our respective businesses or get out of them and go traveling in South America for 12 months. And we decided to set up a glove company instead. So that's how we got here. I guess if you really want me to get into the weeds, so in New Zealand, they have a thing called 3 Bs. So a person sets up a business, and one of the curses of New Zealand is when they get to a certain level where they're making a bit of money, they go out and buy a BMW, a boat, and a batch. And a batch is New Zealand for a holiday house. Or a cabin.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And so instead of growing the business, they just decide to let's just go and get some toys and have some fun. And we were sort of at that stage in 2015. And we were a B Corp, so we decided our focus is to help people use less of a better product and improve the industry, which is bad. And we can talk about that. And so we decided to come to the States and set up over here, which, has been fantastic in many ways, but also pretty challenging. And we arrived on January the 6th, 2016 in San Francisco. The only car that could take us all was car seats, and everything else was a stretch limo. It kept the kids busy because they had a party ball in the middle of it, and the kids were sort of looking at what's going on here.
That's awesome.
And we ended up on the East Bay for about 6 months and just decided that it was too busy, so we headed up to Tahoe, and the rest is history. We literally took an office here in this place, and the rest is history, if you like. So did I expect to be in it in 20 years? No, I don't expect to be in it for another 20 years.
That is not one of the follow-up questions.
So,
we do mention the 20 years a good amount. So
will you be doing this for another 40 years?
Yeah.
That's right.
We're not going to have that live stream.
No,
Yeah.
I'll be doing it from underground if I am. But yes.
Okay, so the next question: over the last 20 years, you've seen the industry evolve quite a bit. So, what's the biggest change that you have witnessed in the glove industry?
I think about that a lot. On the face of it, nothing, but behind the scenes, a lot. So I went to factories last year. Was it last year? To Malaysia and Thailand. And when I first went to factories in the early 2000s, there'd be 50 to 100 staff on the ground pulling gloves off formers, packing them, doing all sorts of stuff. This time there might have been 5. And it's all automated.
The automation of it.
There's one guy sitting in a room with about 20 TVs making sure everything's working. And then they've got AI taking photos of the gloves as they zip past to see if they've got any faults. And so that's the major change. The other change is behind the scenes. It's like when nitrile gloves first came out, they're incredibly expensive and thick and really hard on your hands. You get a lot of RSI, repetitive strain. And now our Derma 2s, for example, are nice and soft and tactile. And
you'd almost come comfortable. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of technology goes into that people don't realise. Sustainability is a big one. So our factories are really environmentally friendly. They use renewable resources. They've got solar everywhere. They recycle the water, so it's not just wasted. And so there's lots of those sort of things that the average consumer would never notice. But
so the industry is improving a bit?
And the other big one was labour rights. So labour rights in the old factories was shocking in terms of it was immigrant labour, mostly from Myanmar and a few places like that, and they'd be treated like badly. And the forced labour, passports, beatings, all that sort of stuff. And that's still going on. In fact, several factories were banned from the US during the pandemic for forced labour, but it's a lot less. And there's a lot more transparency. Costco, who's one of our really good customers, they audit all our factories every year for lots of things, including that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So that is a lot of changes. But if you could look back, then what's something maybe that hasn't changed?
The thing that really disappoints me about the industry is our industry, the people who import this product into the US or New Zealand or anywhere. It's a lazy industry. They don't do what they should be doing for their customers, which is making sure the gloves are suitable for process, that they're not dirty, and we can talk about Delta Zero if you want. But And I just think the industry here sells gloves and we sell food safety and security. So it's just that different focus, which I wish the industry here would really step up on. But
they can embrace the after effect side versus just the product.
Well, I mean, we know that gloves, 50% of gloves that enter the US have indicators of fecal matter. We know they have listeria on them, salmonella, lots of different things, but and there's no testing for that. So and the industry knows that as well because it's proven science. So they need to be doing the sort of stuff that we do to protect their customers.
Okay, but then we get pushed back a lot, and I hear it from a lot of people, but the FDA approves the gloves, so people are testing for that.
There's a great article I just read actually on LinkedIn from Campbell Mitchell, who's the head of food safety for Kraft Heinz, and he said the regulations are the floor, not the ceiling. So across all the board, and so the FDA food compliance protects a few little things from like chemical composition. It doesn't test for quality of the glove. It doesn't test for contamination by heavy metals or pathogens or whatever. So and so that's the floor. The ceiling is, what can we do to keep people safe? Not
I like that.
What's the least we can do.
Yeah.
So I recommend people read that because he's written a good series of products on HACCP and food safety culture.
I like that. Where it's the bare minimum, it's not the most you can do.
And so unfortunately, most people don't know that the FDA food compliance doesn't offer any protection. They just assume it does. And that's a big education story for us that we have to try and get across.
It does sound pretty official when you put something governmental on the box and where kind of the false sense of security, if you would.
It totally, I think.
Yeah. Well, we're already talking about it, so I guess we can go to it and scoot back up to our manufacturing question that we have. But one thing that you've mentioned is Delta Zero, and I think that really sets EcoProtect apart. So where did the idea for third-party testing, come from, and
how did a marketing botanist start
doing
microbial studies on gloves?
Right.
Pivot. Well, it's an interesting story. So we had we just started the company in New Zealand, and Otago University, which is a southern state, or we call them province in New Zealand, and Otago Hospital did a study on gloves. And what they were trying to the hypothesis they were trying to prove was that nurses are contaminating gloves by not using them properly, by not changing them the way they should change them. Like they get their hand and put it on the glove, and then they put it on like this, and then it's contaminated. And the media, being the media, decided that they'd turn this into a big story. Is that a special question?
That's me. We have somebody coming in. That's me. I don't know how to silence
live
my phone.
Questions.
I apologize.
So I'm making a short story long, but so they did, and the media came out, got the article, and got the study, and came out and said, "Are gloves killing people?" Because what they found was that the gloves were getting contaminated within the hospital setting because people weren't using them properly, and
that's so scary.
Which is a bit scary, but that's sort of almost, unless you have a really good system for putting a glove on and off, you are going to get your hands on it.
Right.
And if your hands aren't perfectly clean, there's going to be contamination. And if you imagine you're going from patient to patient, dressing wounds or something, you've got to spend the time in between.
Oh, sure.
But
we still got fingernails. So, it's not an easy process either to really get them clean.
No, that's right. So, but the thing that interested me was they tested the gloves on arrival and 80% of them were contaminated. But they didn't focus on that. That was just a side thing. So we started doing some research on that. We eventually got to the States, understood the FDA food compliance didn't offer any protection. So then we went to a microbiologist group in the States and we asked them what tests could we do to protect our customers. And as part of the test process, they did a sort of calibration using 2,800 gloves, 26 different brands, medical and food grade, and found that 50% of them had indicators of fecal matter, plus all these other contaminants and fungus and molds and all sorts of things, which shocked us. And so we developed a test to make sure that doesn't happen with our gloves. But in the meantime, this has been published in the Journal of Food Protection, peer-reviewed, and it clearly shows that gloves can be contaminated, and the source is water, dirty water. So they wash the gloves, or they should wash the gloves anyway in the factories. Some factories don't do that very well either, but and so they're contaminating the gloves, and these pathogens are really resilient and they can survive and live on the gloves, and given the opportunity, they'll sneak into a piece of cheese and grow and kill somebody.
Yeah.
And so, it's really hard to prove that gloves are a problem, but there's been two big cases that we know. One is fungus on gloves killed some premature babies with aspergillus, which we found on the gloves entering the US. And the other one is the cannabis farm, which was the Freer Farms, which was published in a newspaper article that they found a carcinogen on their gloves that was transferred onto the product. And so that was an official. So there's several instances like that. I think anyway, that the listeria outbreaks and these sort of things, this got to be linked to gloves. It's very hard to, by the time listeria comes along, 20 days later, the glove's 6 foot underground. So it's hard to check.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Delta Zero is probably one of the more complicated things about our business because it's a very simple product, but then it also has like a lot of science behind it, which kind of makes it complex.
Yeah.
So our gloves aren't sterile, like they're going to be used in surgery.
Yeah.
But then we say they're not going to contaminate your food. Kind of like, how is that balance of they're not sterile, but they're not going to contaminate? And how did you find that balance of, that's kind of, I think the hardest thing to understand about Delta Zero is if they're not completely sterile, then how do we know that? Like,
right.
It's just, I guess it's starting, to me, we say you start with a glove that your customers think you're using. So in other words, when I go into, pick a fast food outlet and I see someone wearing a glove, I assume that glove is not contaminated. I'm not assuming it's clean or sterile like a surgeon's glove, but I'm assuming it's clean. But the due diligence hasn't been done by both the distributor, like us, or the end user. So they're not saying, we need gloves that actually meet some sort of cleanliness standard. If we import, pick something, bread buns in plastic bags, we have reports that those buns are not contaminated and that the plastic bag isn't going to contaminate them either. So the plastic bag requirements from the FDA are much more detailed than the glove requirements, for example, to use a different product. So, but most people just assume that gloves are clean, not sterile. And then it's how you use them as well. There's a lot more of this process involved, how you put them on, washing hands, all that sort of stuff. But it's just starting with a product that's dirty, you're putting yourself at risk, or putting your customers at risk.
I think a big part of that too is just having the microbiologists involved that understand like exposure and the levels, and because there's environmental bacteria everywhere. I mean, it's like, I probably shouldn't lick the table, but it's not sterile either. So it's one of those where it's not clean, but it's also like safe. So it's kind of finding that balance between, it's something that we've never thought about. Because I agree with you. If I go into a restaurant anywhere, I trust them to be clean and do it right. I feel like that's the level I expect them to be operating at. So I just assume that is there. And
well, the Delta Zero is the sort of the sharp part of the story, but the rest of it is that you don't want the glove ripping and glove juice going all over whatever it is, the food.
Our
salty glove sweat will be the nice addition to the flavor.
You don't want a piece of glove turning up in
the chewy flavor enhancers.
Your chicken burger or whatever it happens to be. So there's lots of other things as well. That we do and it's all part of the standard that we operated under, includes the pathogen testing and then all the other things regarding the testing, but also that the gloves are actually just good gloves and they do the job.
Yeah. I think this, honestly, because I'm curious, you choose manufacturers and you trust the manufacturers to produce the gloves that are up to a certain standard. So what kind of goes into that? Most people probably, on here probably don't think about how we choose our manufacturing partners. So I think that's probably an interesting thing that people could learn.
It's a great question, I think, because we don't test our gloves because we don't trust our manufacturers.
No,
it's not but it's like there's a lot that goes into it before we pick them, and then it's more verifying for the customers versus because we know our factories are good. So that's an interesting question.
Well, we visit them. So most of our factories we've used for almost 20 years, both with clothing and gloves.
long time.
Long time. And most of them have changed hands, but I'm still the constant, I suppose. But anyway, a couple of them are publicly listed, so they've got a lot of requirements. Huge companies, and a couple of them are really small family-owned companies. But we visit them, we socialise with them, we go around the factory, I talk to staff, I look at all the process. I remember going to, on the reverse, I remember going to a big factory that we don't use, and they supply probably, I don't know, 10 to 20% of the US usage of gloves. And I asked them to look at the wash tanks. So as part of the process, the gloves go through the nitrile or whatever it is, and after that, they should go through about 5 or 6 wash tanks to leach out contaminants, make sure they're clean, all these sort of things, assuming the water's clean.
Right.
And it sort of, the factories sort of go up and, up and down. There's 3 or 4 levels. And I said, can I look at the wash tanks? And they said, no, it's too dangerous. And I said, well, I really want to see that. Anyway, I eventually got up there. They were empty. So to save money, they were running the wash tanks empty because you don't need all the hot water if you don't have the hot water there.
Like it was cold water or just no water?
Nothing, no water.
No
empty.
way.
So they're just, and that's
Really?
So it was like the rinse-free gloves.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
With latex gloves, that's really important because that leaches out the proteins that cause the allergies that people get. So
Interesting.
if they skip those steps, it can be significant.
Interesting.
With nitrile gloves, it means that they're saving money. I mean, if you want to save money on gloves, you don't do the full wash tank stuff. You pay your staff really badly. You put 95 gloves in a box of 100. Out of the 95, you put in 5 rejects. So you've saved 10% already. No one counts, and if they do, they'll go, "Oh, sorry about that."
All right, we're gonna cut this part out. Giving advice on how to cut corners and
don't do that.
But it is a way to cut corners and costs, and if you need to make things cheaper to save $1 and not raise your prices, and it's kind of that keep the sales going, but you're still making money or more money. It's nice. We can make a nice little flyer of that of how to cut corners.
We talked to the Delta Zero. So our motto with the factories is we trust but verify. So we trust them to do the right thing, and we talk to them like that. We don't try and bully them around, but we verify using the Delta Zero, and they know that. So there's a stopgap or a safety gap for us to make sure they are doing what they say they're doing. But they're all really good people and good companies, and they've done us proud in terms of the product. We get very few problems, if any.
Yeah, which is great.
I'd say on our side, it's easier to do what we do too, because it is a simple product, but I feel like there's so much good in it. It kind of, I don't want to say it adds a lot of complexity to something that could be just really, the box of Kleenex is in a box of gloves, and you just check the box where it adds a lot more to it, where I feel like we're making a bigger impact than just blue or black gloves, kind of like a matching your outfit kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would estimate that about 20 to 25% of gloves that enter the US never get used because they rip or fail. And so we help people use less of a better product. And so instead of losing, we've got one big customer who was losing 25% of their gloves before we took over, and now
which means they just go right into the landfill without even using them.
Yeah,
just
trash, which is just
extra trash,
and then they spent all the money to get it over here,
and also the productivity, dangers of that, people having to swap gloves all the time.
Yeah.
And anyway, so
it is time consuming.
Well, this was our next question. It now sounds a bit leading, but maybe you have a different answer. But you've worked with customers across food processing, manufacturing, healthcare, so many different industries. Are there any glove challenges that seem to come up again and again, no matter the industry, just kind of across the board?
It's just the biggest challenge, I think, is people accepting mediocrity. And that's one of our core values as a company. But I've got we're in Tahoe, I've got a good story of a friend who's a nurse, and he said my gloves, when he puts them on, he used to have 5 or 6 gloves
No way.
to
that's
get
a
a
lot.
pair. And I said, how many syringes are you allowed to break before you get a good one? And he said, none. And I said, well, why is that disparity? Why do people accept failure from our gloves? Well, not our gloves, but from gloves, and not with other things. And that's the thing that we've got to get across is people just assume that gloves break.
Do you think they don't know there's something better, or why is that acceptance there? Because I agree with you that if they break the syringe in my arm, I'm leaving.
Yeah, 100%.
But if they were putting on gloves and one snapped, I would wait for them to put on the next one. It's like
It's just that they've been trained or educated by the industry, and that's where I say we've been lazy as an industry. They've been trained to accept mediocrity, and it's when we sell millions and millions of gloves every year, so there are going to be the odd failure. There just has to be. It's just a numbers game.
Yeah,
but very, very rare, and we would be upset if there's more than 1 per 100,000 gloves fails, for example, just to pick a figure.
Okay. So you talked quite a bit about the past, and the present. And so if we were looking into the future, so if you were going to get out your crystal ball And not 20 years. We'll go a little bit sooner than that. Maybe it might be 20 years though. So looking ahead in the glove industry, hey, let's go over the next 10 years maybe. Is there any kind of things that you think could change or things we're getting close to? Are there innovations coming? Like, do you see anything like that kind of changing things down the road?
Yeah, I've talked with a couple of young lads who've made a machine that you can spray gloves on. And that's at the very early stages. So that may be something in the future that people could do. You have localized rather than thinking big about big factories in Malaysia. You think localized and have little factories at each plant, for example. That could be something. The trouble is it costs money, and gloves, it's not sort of a money maker. If you people want things.
Different margins in the tech industry.
I'm hoping that our FDA petition will be accepted and vinyl gloves will be banned in the food industry in the US. Because they're just evil. I mean, they're terrible things, food safety, environmentally, and for people. And we could spend a whole podcast on that trouble. I think the big one, I'm a Star Trek fan, and what I would like to see is like a little Apple Watch, which I'm not wearing today, put a force field over your hand. And that's so you just press a button, your glove goes on, and you're working around, and that maybe not 10 years, that might be 20 or 30.
That'd be cool.
You better not be around for that one.
But that's probably a bit harder. But I'm sure there will be ways of, because the job's not to wear a glove. The job is to protect the wearer and the food or whatever the patient. So it's how do we do that? More. And that's where we do small steps. So the zero waste list, the bottom one is recycle. The top one is don't use it, and then the second one is reduce. And so we reduce the usage by giving people a good glove. So that's the first step, and the second step and third step is to work out better ways of doing things in terms of the process. But our big job is to educate the users to not accept this mediocrity.
Yeah, because it is something that's a little bit harder if they don't know. Okay, well, that has been a lot of deepness. So we have some fun, fast fire questions here to ask you at the end.
Right.
Just to really get to know you a little better.
Oh goodness. Okay, so it's like quick rapid fire. You don't get to like
talk.
No, you don't. You get
no
to
thinking.
Say
no thinking.
Just what you think. Okay, let me make sure I have my questions so I can also be rapid fire. Okay, are you ready?
Go.
Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What's one word that describes Eagle Protect?
Awesome.
I like it.
Favorite country you've traveled for work?
Probably Thailand, I would say.
Cool.
Why is Star Trek one of the most overrated TV shows in history?
I can't answer that in a short way because
it's rapid fire. Come on.
Star Trek is a true story that hasn't happened yet, whereas Star Wars is a fairy tale. So these are the differences. So
right. Okay.
Not rapid fire.
No. Yeah, rapid fire. What's one product you've been most excited to launch?
That's a tricky. I like our Derma 2s. That's the best glove I've ever worn and sold. So, and I think that'll be used in a lot of places in the near future.
Love it.
I agree. Cool. What's something your team would say you're known for?
Incredible generosity and fairness.
Crazy. That's not in my notes. Is that in your notes? I missed that in my notes.
Okay, if you weren't in the glove industry, what do you think you'd be doing?
Fishing.
Nice. That's a good one.
That came real fast.
Yeah, that was maybe
thinking about
should
that
we be worried?
All right. Well, those were some great questions. It's about time for us to be done. So thank you for coming and talking about the many, many years you have spent in the glove industry. It's good to hear a different perspective because we kind of are involved with now and what's happening in the current. And there's a lot of history before us of why things have evolved to what we have and what programs we have and the testing we have and the products we have and stuff where they didn't just come overnight and it was something we ordered off the shelf. They've evolved and taken time to develop and be what they need. So it's nice to see the really old face behind all of it.
Really old face behind. I love this sort of stab in the back.
So do you want to come back to this?
Yeah.
See, this is good. Do this again.
We can say it on now because he has to restrain and hold back because it's recorded.
He will never be joining us again, but thank you.
Let's do a sequel. We can do that.
Yeah.
No, it was great you came over and he gets to be in the US with us for a few weeks. So it was fun. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
We do it every month if you want to come come back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll ask harder questions next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it remote too. So it could be anytime.
You're just
so
gonna
watch
have to
out.
get up at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
Yeah.
But, we can do that. No trouble. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining the Glove Lab. And we will have another one next month. And if you'd like to learn more, you can visit our website anytime, ecoprotect.com. And please subscribe. We appreciate it. And we hope you enjoy these chats. So thank you, everyone, and have a good day.
All right. See you, everybody.
See you. Bye.
I was like,